if you haven't followed the Corvette, we have a couple videos on it. But the guy came by, he's happy with it, it runs and drives and starts, but...
You didn't tell him what the thing is that he's most happiest about. Clearly. Did you guys see that? Did we show that in the previous video?
No, that's all new.
Yeah, check it out, guys. Yeah. This was my superior fabrication skills. Brandon's making his cheese ball stupid pie cut intake, but I've got this beautiful carb air filter set up now.
Well, there'd have to be an air filter in it.
Well, there's no filter in it yet, but...
As with every 350 Chevy.
Yeah. Check that out. That's nice and snug. You don't have that on your carb, you got a stupid wing nut.
The guy who owns the car went, oh, cool, and then carried on.
Yeah, he didn't give a shit at all.
Now he wants us to make it roadworthy. So now we have to go through it and find anything else that we might see wrong, bad bushings, bad motor mounts. I know there's an exhaust leak. The oil pressure gauge, I'm pretty sure, was just put in the wrong spot, so I'm moving that to the right spot so we can actually have oil pressure because it hasn't been reading. And yeah, we're essentially today we're going to go through, make a list, and do little things that we can of what we need to get to make this thing roadworthy. So we've done this before where we've had it on the list. So essentially it's just now making mental notes and actually writing down the stuff that we're going to need. Like sway bar. I mean, I'll have to just make sure these are tight. The bushings don't look terrible even though they feel like rocks. This is a problem. There is no bushing for the bottom part of that strut or shock, so that will be getting replaced. We'll get rid of all these bags in here. Some of the ball joints look okay. We might get a big pry bar and check because they're definitely well used. Another thing too, this power steering setup, however it is on these Corvettes, we're probably just going to end up getting most, if not all, new stuff because it is leaking everywhere and has been for a while from what I can tell. So the other thing too is once we do all that, we'll check and see if the power steering pump is actually bad. It might be. Ooh, this one still has part of the bushing left.
Not much.
Yeah, you should, like, I don't know if you paid attention to when we were lifting this or if we had the sound on, but it sounds wonderful when it goes up in the air. These motor mounts are just dry cracked. Yeah. I mean, that's not going to keep them from driving, but if we've heard it start, the starter is starting to wear on the flex plate, so we're going to space it down. I think we can get away with just a couple washers because getting that starter out of there does not look super fun. Mainly because the bolt goes into the header, so we'll see if we'll actually be able to do that. We might need to cut a slot into a washer, one of those things, that way we can get that space down. And then there is tranny fluid in it. I don't see any leaks right now. That mount looks okay. Although, whoever put the, yeah. Apparently those holes were not in the right spot, so they did it as shitty as they could have. I believe the exhaust leak, other than that missing weld there, but I think it's here because that's pretty much touching. So we're gonna have to take out the little sections here because it also looks like these pipes have to be welded in because the flange is too big for this opening. I don't know who thought that was a good idea, but it wasn't. This side's okay because it's got a decent gap there. That side's just rubbing into it. E-brake cables, they look okay. Yeah, we should do rear shocks too. And then, what are these greasable? No, but they feel okay. so. Axles are probably okay. No movement. What is this? What is this? Spring diff mount? Spring mount? I don't know. That's definitely separating. So it's for the spring, because these have one leaf that go from one side to the other. But it's also attached to the diff, so I don't know what they're gonna call it. And then lower control arm bushings. There's some, well, behind the cobwebs, there's some missing bushing there. Same on this one, although this looks like an aftermarket arm. I don't know, they might have had adjusters like that from back then. So rear shocks, front shocks, bushings and whatnot. And then we're gonna take the wheels off and we're gonna look at the brakes.
Did you look at the upper control arm bushings? The ones that
I
are in the
couldn't.
engine bay?
Like, yeah, I couldn't see from underneath there, so we'll look at those.
Brakes are good, or?
I don't know. I'm gonna guess not. But rear shocks.
Front and rears?
Yeah.
Okay. I was trying to look them up right now because I was curious if they're actually something that's like available or.
I mean, I'd think so. They probably match for most cars from that era. Brakes probably aren't too common because they are four-wheel disc. Pads look good, but what is on this? This is oil? Are they leaking?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, well, it needs brakes. Because if you ever get oil,
Looks a little.
yeah, the calipers might be leaking. Because oh look. That's good, we can use that again. But yeah, brakes might be leaking. Either that or something got spilt on them. But if you ever get
Oh God.
oil or
looks
anything
like-
in the pads, it's needs them.
Feels kind of greasy.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
Or
what
it
it
might just be brake fluid mixed with pad material.
is. Yeah. Yep. It is. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It should be all fogged up, dude.
All that rust from sitting
Did
there.
you check the when it was?
Like tie rod stuff?
Yeah, or the wheel bearing. What is going on under there, dude?
It just looks like the power steering stuff.
The stuff. I love that.
Well, the shock thing, this fucking little motor, or whatever that is too. I mean, you
Well-
are moving the steering wheel with it, so it's not really tie rods or anything.
It looks like something you would find in a cave.
When you're spelunking.
Yeah. Someone dropped it in the mud like 45 years ago, and then you unearthed it, and
Yeah.
that's what it looks like.
It's pretty close.
Yeah, is that some little like assist type thing? What the fuck
You mean
is
like
that? It's got
Assisting or
It's got-
assist?
it's almost like a little motor, isn't it? Or like
Yeah,
a hydraulic.
it's something to do. I mean, because the pump's up there, but I don't know what it is. That's why it's a power steering thing.
I think my vote would be new idler arm, new drag links, new fucking tie rods, new everything, new steering damper, new.
I mean,
Just
yeah.
look at them. Everything is old and crusty and covered
Probably
in
not going to.
75-year-old grease.
I guess having something that steers properly and is trustworthy is nice for driving.
My vote, due to age, brake lines, calipers, pads, rotors, repack the wheel bearings, new steering, all around, like everything, and new shocks front and rear.
All right.
The control
Well,
arms.
I just want to look at the rear
control
brakes
arms
because we
aren't
probably need
a
rear brakes
need,
too.
I guess. But
Well,
with how
they're-
old they are, like how long is it gonna be
So-
until he's like 1,000 miles down the road, and then the bushings just crumble to bits?
I mean, I was gonna say I have the other idea. Like the bushings aren't bad, but I guarantee you that most of the noise of going up and down is how old those bushings are.
Yeah.
So they're not falling apart, but they're just making noise. And I'm sure he doesn't want to sit there and pull into whatever car meet and just. We talked to him about everything. We're not doing everything that we found. We're doing essentially just what it needs to make it driving.
Which is still pretty much everything.
It's pretty much everything, yeah. We're not doing the bushings. You get to see what's going on with that later. And then we have a power steering upgrade that's coming later, but
Yeah,
I don't
I
think
found
it'll
that.
be it.
Brandon never looks anything up.
Well,
I found it.
correct that. Brandon never cares.
Well, I found this cool thing that deletes all the weird nonsense under there.
Yeah,
And
the
it
power
just-
steering stuff that I was talking about.
Yeah, and it's just like a nicer Delphi 600 gearbox that they like go through and they like change the ratio on it and shit. So it should help the steering on this thing feel a bit more modern and not so like a truck.
Old timey.
Driving down the road straight, just doing this.
Like that Suburban where we just had to do this to go straight.
yeah, at 85.
That was sick. I want to get a gun.
There's a gun right there.
Oh, we have it? Oh, look at that.
Yeah, dude, come on.
Sorry.
Although, why am I not surprised that this doesn't swivel?
Oh, no, I saw that.
Well, I'll just unbolt the caliper, I guess, and then. See, I really feel like we've really missed out on an opportunity to just go like full West Coast choppers with our videos. You know?
Yeah?
Like have me and Brandon just like arguing, throwing furniture and shit. And then like Sarah opens up her door and she starts yelling at us and you just have like a really far shot that's like the camera's kind of shaky.
Yeah, shaky and hella
And,
zoomed.
and she's just standing in her door fucking screaming at us from across the shop.
I mean, would be fun. Get a stainless steel line, they said. It'll be great, they said.
What the
Yeah. So the rotors are riveted on. One of GM's many faults.
I don't know what you're talking about. They can do no wrong. The heartbeat of America.
Well, in that case, I'm just gonna get a drill bit and we're gonna drill all
and soil it.
with 20 of these things.
I don't think the rears have them.
No?
Well, this side doesn't.
Oh, it might not because it has a drum back there. Like e-brake drum.
You're spinning it up too much, dude. Annoying.
Shut up.
Wow, look at that, dude. This fucking e-brake is perfectly adjusted.
How perfect.
I just gently jiggled it right on. It just went right on, dude. Not loosey-goosey, not too tight. It says that I have to be a I need to be a service technician C or higher skill level.
Oh, I thought you were saying you needed to be a cervix technician. That was not gonna make sense.
Well, I am that too, you know. Stop shining the light in my face.
You're gonna work on the brakes and stuff while I pull the CRV in to look at it, but I figure we leave the power steering the way that it is until we get the gearbox in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, all we have is the pump, right?
Well, no, we have the pump and we have the idler. And then if you want to grease all the bushings before you put it down, I'd like to kill that noise.
So if you want to film in there, I can give them the pro tip. Little pro tip pro tip for y'all. On these design of calipers, when you put the new ones on, the little pistons are always going to be expanded out. So to get them to compress so that you can slide the pads in easily without having to fidget around with using a screwdriver or something to flatten them. If you want to show them, if you put a vacuum on it, it'll suck them shut, and then you can just slide your brakes down in there. Wow. Whoa. Whoa. I'm doing the white lithium now on the old bushings and stuff that he did not want to replace, so hopefully they stop squeaking as bad. Come on. We found some cool stuff. Picture, if you will, that right here, right, is that thing. And then there's this curious little guy right here, right? This hole. And I'll give you a hint, that's not supposed to be there. Whoever installed those monstrosity of seats must have drilled through the floor to try to mount them, and then kept going, and then kept going after they hit multiple steps of steel. So they went through the floor, through the cross member, and through the exhaust.
Yeah, so the exhaust leak we were trying to find, we thought was there. And so once me and Fred fought this coming down, I was like, all right, pulled it back, and I was like, what the fuck? And then I pull it out, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, so that would also explain why the fumes were just shooting straight into the car. When you would turn it on, it literally just smelled like fumes inside the car. So no more gas chamber.
Yeah. Well, we have the
Look right here, look right here, look right here.
Fred's accomplishment.
No. Oh, wait, did you take it out?
I did.
Oh, never mind.
Don't
I
worry
was trying
about
to
it.
expose your ass.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, so the white lithium grease, we're gonna see if it did anything for it, which
It didn't.
yeah. And then Fred got the shocks on, we got the brakes all the way around, got that hassle sorted. Feels like brakes. I really want to hear the starter because that sounded horrible. So if it sounds less horrible,
Jeez.
yeah, they're still, them
dude.
bushings are fucked.
We should take this thing around the complex right now, dude.
Yeah, the power steering won't be today because we have to order that kit that Fred was talking about, and when that gets here, we'll put it in then. All right. Nope.
Hey, but there's no exhaust coming in the car.
Yeah, it actually doesn't have a giant exhaust leak, which is good.
Didn't even have to shut it off. The advantage of carburetors.
Wow.
It'll turn itself off.
So the next time you want to buy a old car as a fun project, rethink that.